Now, Jessica Mulroney is spilling the royal tea on just how popular Meghan's fashion influence.
Jessica Mulroney and Meghan Markle were once seen as inseparable, the kind of close friends whose bond appeared unbreakable. Their relationship was highly visible, personal, and often described as family-like, which made its quiet collapse all the more puzzling to the public. For years, speculation filled the gap left by their sudden distance. Now, Jessica has chosen to address the situation, offering her own version of events and suggesting that the friendship did not simply fade with time but ended because of what she describes as a profound personal betrayal and a cold response from Prince Harry. Her decision to speak after years of silence has reignited interest in the true reasons behind their fallout and raised questions about why she waited so long to share her perspective. According to Jessica's account, the commonly accepted explanation for their split does not tell the full story, and she claims there were deeper, more personal issues involved. These assertions have surprised many, especially given how carefully both women previously avoided public confrontation. Jessica alleges that the breakdown of the friendship stemmed from deeply personal circumstances involving her former marriage, claims that sharply contradict the narrative that has circulated since 2020. Until now, the public widely believed the rift was rooted in a high-profile controversy surrounding race, privilege, and public accountability. Jessica's new claims, which remain allegations rather than established facts, suggest that what happened behind the scenes was far more painful than what played out publicly. To understand how their relationship unraveled, it is necessary to revisit the events of 2020, when the friendship began to fracture in plain sight. The fallout was swift and permanent, and once it started, there was no path back. At the time, the immediate trigger appeared to be a public dispute involving Jessica and influencer Sasha Exeter. During a period when many Black creators were calling on prominent figures to speak out against racial injustice, Jessica's response to criticism was widely viewed as defensive and threatening rather than reflective. The backlash was immediate and intense, with critics accusing her of abusing privilege and power instead of listening to marginalized voices. As the controversy escalated, Jessica attempted to explain herself, but in doing so, she referenced her close friendship with Meghan Markle as proof that she understood issues of race. That decision backfired. Many observers felt she was invoking Meghan's identity to shield herself from criticism rather than taking responsibility for her own words and actions. In the process, Meghan was pulled into a controversy she had not initiated. Meghan's reaction, though quiet, was decisive. She did not publicly defend Jessica, issue supportive statements, or attempt to reframe the situation. Instead, she withdrew. People close to Meghan suggested that this moment marked a breaking point. Meghan had consistently spoken about empathy, accountability, and listening to underrepresented voices, and watching a close friend respond so poorly to criticism conflicted with those values. The silence was interpreted as a clear signal that the friendship had changed. Sources later suggested that the tension had been building long before the public dispute, with differences in worldview and sensitivity to social issues creating an unspoken divide. As the controversy continued, Jessica's professional life unraveled rapidly. Television appearances ended, brand partnerships dissolved, and long-standing projects were quietly canceled. Within weeks, her public image shifted dramatically, and apologies failed to reverse the damage. Throughout this period, Meghan maintained her distance. There were no public reconciliations, no shared appearances, and no visible signs of the closeness they once displayed. Jessica attempted at times to suggest that the friendship still existed privately, but there was little evidence to support that claim. Eventually, the separation became unmistakable. Social media ties were cut, and when Meghan and Prince Harry released major projects, including their Netflix series, Jessica was entirely absent. Given her former role in Meghan's life, that absence was widely seen as intentional. At the same time, Jessica's personal life was undergoing major changes, including the end of her marriage, compounding the sense of loss she experienced both privately and professionally. Meanwhile, Meghan moved forward deliberately, rebuilding her public life with tighter boundaries and a more carefully chosen inner circle. Over time, Jessica appeared to accept that the friendship was over, sharing messages that suggested she was focused on moving on rather than reopening old wounds. What made the situation so striking was the imbalance in outcomes. Meghan lost a close friend but retained control over her narrative and career, while Jessica faced lasting professional and personal consequences. The end of Meghan Markle and Jessica Mulroney's friendship was not marked by explosive interviews or public accusations, but by silence, distance, and a closed door. That quiet ending has continued to invite speculation, precisely because of how close they once were. Their story remains a reminder that even the most visible friendships can dissolve without public resolution, leaving behind unanswered questions and sharply different paths forward. The friendship between Meghan Markle and Jessica Mulroney began long before royal drama, public fallout, and relentless headlines entered the picture. In its early days, the bond was organic and uncomplicated, shaped by timing, access, and aligned ambition rather than fame or controversy. Meghan was a working actress looking to grow her career and redefine her path, while Jessica was already deeply established in Canada's fashion, media, and social elite. When their lives intersected, the connection formed quickly and intensified with ease. In 2011, Meghan relocated to Toronto after securing her role on the legal drama Suits, a move that proved pivotal. Toronto offered distance from Hollywood pressure and the chance to build a new support system. At that stage, Meghan was known but not yet a global figure, and she needed stability, guidance, and community. That was when Jessica entered her life. Jessica was far more than a stylist. She was a social power broker with deep connections to influential families, designers, and media executives. Married to Ben Mulroney, a television host and son of former Canadian Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, her name and circle carried considerable weight. Rather than keeping Meghan at a distance, Jessica welcomed her fully, introducing her to people and spaces that would have taken years to access alone. Their relationship deepened through daily routines rather than staged appearances. They exercised together, shared meals, attended classes, and built habits that fostered trust. Meghan brought discipline and ambition, while Jessica brought confidence, polish, and strategic awareness. Soon, they became a visible duo within Toronto's social and fashion scenes, appearing together at charity events, private gatherings, and industry functions. Meghan's style evolved noticeably during this time, becoming more refined and assured, a transformation widely attributed to Jessica's influence. Jessica helped Meghan navigate elite environments with confidence, teaching her how to remain visible without appearing desperate, a critical skill in those circles. Their closeness extended online, where Instagram posts documented trips, workouts, jokes, and candid moments that felt genuine rather than performative. Fans saw them as true best friends. Their travels, including a well-documented trip to the Amalfi Coast, reinforced that image, showing relaxed joy and intimacy. When Meghan began dating Prince Harry, Jessica became one of her most trusted confidants. Entering a relationship with a royal brought intense scrutiny, secrecy, and pressure, and Meghan relied on Jessica's understanding of media boundaries and public perception. That trust was evident when Meghan called Jessica moments before Harry proposed, sharing the news privately before it became history. As Meghan and Harry's engagement unfolded, Jessica's role only expanded. Her children were given a meaningful place in the royal wedding, with her twin sons helping carry Meghan's gown, a symbolic gesture of trust and closeness. Jessica assisted with wedding details and later traveled to London to help style Meghan for key appearances, including the highly praised 2018 Royal Tour of Australia and the Pacific. She defended Meghan publicly during periods of intense criticism, speaking out forcefully when she believed attacks crossed the line. Jessica attended Meghan's baby shower, supported her during the transition away from royal duties, and was reportedly involved in setting up the Sussexes' home in Canada. For years, she remained present before, during, and after Meghan's royal chapter, a position very few people occupied. While outsiders often focus on how the friendship ended, its foundation was built on daily life, shared ambition, and deep personal trust. Over time, however, Meghan's rise shifted the balance of the relationship, introducing strain and complexity that insiders later described as difficult to manage. Still, what cannot be disputed is how close they once were. Their bond was not born of fame, but forged through routine, loyalty, and mutual benefit. Now, with new allegations suggesting Meghan may have had an affair with Jessica's husband, Ben Mulroney, the entire collapse of their friendship is being re-examined through a far darker and more dramatic lens. Ben Mulroney and Jessica Mulroney. What their marriage looked like before the fallout, the allegations that Meghan Markle had an affair with Ben Mulroney remain unproven and highly disputed. There has never been credible evidence to support those claims. To understand why many observers question them, it is important to look closely at the relationship between Jessica Mulroney and Ben Mulroney themselves, long before public controversies and royal connections reshaped how every interaction was interpreted. At the center of the speculation is a marriage that once appeared stable, complementary, and deeply intertwined with public life, but which gradually became strained under pressure and ultimately ended in divorce. Jessica Mulroney and Ben Mulroney came from different professional worlds, but both were shaped by privilege, ambition, and constant public scrutiny. Ben was born into one of Canada's most prominent political families as the son of former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. From an early age, he lived under national attention. Rather than entering politics, he chose a career in media, becoming a recognizable television host and entertainment reporter. His career required polish, restraint, and careful reputation management. Jessica, by contrast, built her profile in fashion, branding, and social networking. She was outspoken, ambitious, and highly visible. Her strength lay in cultivating relationships, shaping image, and positioning herself at the center of influential social circles. Where Ben was cautious and measured, Jessica was bold and expressive. Early on, those differences worked in their favor. They met in the early 2000s through shared media and social circles in Toronto, a city where politics, entertainment, and high society often overlap. At the time, both were rising in their careers. Ben offered stability, a respected family name, and institutional credibility. Jessica brought drive, confidence, and an instinct for influence. Together, they were widely seen as a modern power couple who understood how to navigate public life. They married in 2008 in a high-profile ceremony attended by political figures, media personalities, and fashion insiders. The wedding reinforced their image as a well-matched pair who could handle attention without being consumed by it. Soon after, they started a family. They had 3 children, twin sons followed by a daughter, and family life became part of their public identity. Jessica frequently shared curated glimpses of motherhood, while Ben balanced his television career with the image of being a present, engaged father. For several years, the marriage appeared solid, but as time passed, the balance within the relationship began to shift. Jessica's public profile grew rapidly. Her work as a stylist expanded, and her friendships with high-profile figures became central to her brand. None of those connections mattered more than her friendship with Meghan Markle. When Meghan moved to Toronto for Suits, Jessica became her stylist, confidant, and emotional support system. Their bond elevated Jessica's visibility internationally. When Meghan entered the royal world, Jessica was pulled into a global spotlight almost overnight. She attended royal events, helped with styling, and became part of a narrative far larger than anything the couple had previously navigated. Ben, meanwhile, was drawn into that spotlight indirectly. As a television host, he covered royal stories, including Meghan and Prince Harry's wedding. Professionally, this was presented as neutral and appropriate. Personally, it meant that his marriage and friendships were now being examined at an international level. The attention was relentless, and privacy began to erode. As pressure mounted, differences in temperament became harder to manage. Jessica remained outspoken and highly active online. Ben was increasingly reserved and cautious. These opposing approaches to public life, once complementary, now created friction. When Jessica became embroiled in a public controversy involving social justice and online conduct, the consequences were swift and severe. She lost major partnerships, television roles, and public support almost overnight. What stood out to many observers during this period was Ben's silence. He did not publicly defend Jessica. He did not issue statements or step into the controversy. Instead, he appeared to retreat, focusing on protecting his own career and distancing himself from the fallout. To critics, this looked like abandonment. To others, it looked like damage control driven by the weight of his family name and professional obligations. Inside the marriage, this imbalance likely created deep emotional strain. A relationship once built on shared success was now defined by unequal consequences. Jessica absorbed the public backlash almost entirely on her own, while Ben remained largely insulated. Over time, the couple appeared together less frequently. Social media posts slowed. Public appearances became rare. Eventually, Ben stepped away from his long-running television role. Officially, this was framed as a career transition. Unofficially, many speculated it was connected to the turbulence surrounding Jessica and the desire to reset his public image. Around the same time, rumors began circulating about Ben and Meghan Markle. These claims were fueled by proximity, timing, and public imagination rather than evidence. Meghan had been close to Jessica. Ben had professional involvement in royal coverage. That overlap alone was enough for speculation to grow, even without facts to support it. By the early 2020s, it was clear that Jessica and Ben were no longer moving forward as a united couple. Their lives had diverged. Jessica attempted to rebuild her public identity and reclaim visibility. Ben became increasingly private, stepping back from the spotlight and prioritizing personal stability. Their separation happened quietly, without public statements or dramatic disclosures. The divorce was handled discreetly, consistent with Ben's long-standing approach to reputation management. In the absence of clear explanations, speculation filled the vacuum. But what is evident is that the marriage did not collapse overnight, nor does it appear to hinge on a single explosive betrayal. Instead, it unraveled under the combined weight of public scrutiny, uneven fallout, shifting power dynamics, and prolonged silence at critical moments. Whether new allegations will change how the public interprets that breakup remains to be seen. What is certain is that long before rumors took hold, the foundation of Jessica and Ben Mulroney's marriage had already been under strain. There were no public fights, explosive interviews, or direct accusations exchanged between Jessica and Ben Mulroney. The silence surrounding their separation appeared deliberate, particularly to shield their children from unnecessary exposure. Despite the absence of official statements, it became widely understood that the marriage had ended after years of emotional distance, mounting pressure, and unresolved tension. Throughout the process, their children remained the shared priority. Both Jessica and Ben continued to present a united front when it came to co-parenting, carefully avoiding any attempt to use their family situation for public sympathy or attention. This restraint suggested that even as their marriage collapsed, they reached a mutual understanding to protect their children from further harm. After the divorce, Jessica maintained a public presence, though her approach noticeably changed. Her messaging became more measured and cautious, yet she continued to project confidence and defiance, signaling an effort to rebuild without retreating entirely. Ben, by contrast, largely withdrew from public life. He avoided controversy, reduced his visibility, and chose a quieter, more private path. Alongside their personal separation, speculation grew that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's escalating conflict with the royal family may have indirectly influenced Jessica's fallout with Meghan. Some believe Jessica distanced herself to avoid being drawn into a global controversy or caught between opposing sides. But how accurate is that assumption? And where did the tension between Meghan, Harry, and the royal family truly begin? To understand this, it is necessary to examine how Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's conflict with the royal family unfolded over time. Their fallout is often linked to Meghan's later estrangement from Jessica Mulroney, yet the timeline shows that far deeper and more serious issues were already developing long before that friendship ended. When viewed carefully, it becomes clear that mistrust, emotional strain, and institutional rigidity gradually built into a rupture that permanently reshaped Harry and Meghan's lives. The conflict did not erupt overnight. From the very beginning of Harry and Meghan's relationship, there was unease within royal circles. Meghan was American, divorced, outspoken, and biracial, qualities that set her apart in an institution rooted in tradition, hierarchy, and control. While public reactions were initially polite and welcoming, Harry later revealed that private doubts and concerns existed about whether Meghan truly fit into royal life. This lack of full support planted the first seeds of tension between Harry and the family he had trusted since childhood. When the relationship became public in 2016, media pressure intensified rapidly. Meghan was relentlessly followed, her past scrutinized, and her family dragged into the spotlight. Harry took the unusual step of issuing a public statement condemning media harassment, breaking long-standing royal protocol that favored silence. Senior royals reportedly believed ignoring the press was the best strategy, but Harry viewed silence as dangerous. This moment marked a clear shift, showing that Harry was already prioritizing Meghan's safety over royal convention. After their engagement in 2017, Meghan entered royal life with high expectations, but limited institutional support. She later explained that she underestimated how rigid and unforgiving the system would be. As she struggled to adapt, negative press narratives portraying her as difficult and demanding began to appear. Harry believed these stories were being fed from within palace circles, creating the perception that Meghan was being sacrificed to protect others. The 2018 wedding projected joy and unity, but behind the scenes, problems persisted. Meghan's family issues dominated headlines, and she felt isolated during an intensely stressful period. Around this time, Harry's relationship with Prince William began to deteriorate. Once inseparable, the brothers grew distant as disagreements over Meghan intensified. Harry and Meghan eventually separated their household from William and Kate, signaling a clear internal divide. When Meghan became pregnant, scrutiny increased further. Media coverage turned more hostile, with criticism directed at actions that were praised when performed by others. Meghan later said she felt targeted and believed race played a role in her treatment, a view Harry publicly supported. One of the most damaging moments involved discussions within the family about the skin color of Harry and Meghan's future child. Harry later confirmed that these conversations occurred before Archie's birth. Although names were not publicly disclosed, the impact was profound. For Harry, this crossed a moral line and fundamentally altered his perception of his family. It suggested a level of bias he could not ignore. At the same time, Meghan's mental health deteriorated. She later said she felt trapped, overwhelmed, and denied access to professional help. Harry saw disturbing parallels between Meghan's experience and that of his mother, Princess Diana. Fear of repeating history pushed him toward drastic action. Behind closed doors, conflict between Harry and William escalated further. Harry later alleged that William physically attacked him during an argument over Meghan, an incident that shattered any remaining trust between them. By late 2019, Harry and Meghan were already planning an exit. In early 2020, they announced they would step back as senior working royals, shocking the palace and angering senior family members. Negotiations followed quickly, resulting in the loss of royal roles, military titles, and publicly funded security. The removal of security became a major flashpoint. Harry argued that threats against his family had increased and claimed he was willing to pay for protection himself, but was denied access to police security. To him, this felt punitive and reinforced the belief that the institution had abandoned him. After relocating first to Canada and then to the United States, online rumors emerged questioning the paternity of their children. These claims were widely condemned as racist and abusive. Once again, the palace remained silent, which Harry and Meghan interpreted as betrayal. In 2021, the Oprah Winfrey interview brought years of frustration into the open. Meghan spoke about her mental health struggles and lack of support, while Harry confirmed the skin color discussions, security withdrawal, and emotional distance within the family. The interview triggered a global crisis for the monarchy. The palace's brief response, "Recollections may vary," did little to ease tensions. Public opinion became sharply divided, and communication within the family nearly collapsed. Legal battles followed as Harry sued media organizations for privacy violations, winning several cases that proved misconduct. His attempt to restore security protection, however, faced legal setbacks. The release of his book Spare further deepened divisions, detailing emotional neglect, jealousy, and family conflict, including the alleged physical confrontation with William. Although Harry attended King Charles's coronation briefly, Meghan remained in the United States, underscoring how fractured relations had become. Court cases continued with mixed outcomes, but Harry persisted in challenging both the media and the system he believed failed his family. When the full timeline is examined, the conflict was not caused by a single argument or interview. It developed through early rejection, institutional silence, racial tension, relentless media pressure, and unresolved emotional pain. By the time Harry and Meghan spoke publicly, the damage was already irreversible. Do you believe Meghan Markle had an affair with Ben Mulroney? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and click on the next video on your screen to continue the story.